In today's Adobe Illustrator tutorial you will learn how to add shadows to isometric house, how and when to use blending modes, gradients, blend tool, opacity mask and clipping mask. After this tutorial you'll be able to create your own stunning isometric buildings in Adobe Illustrator. You're watching TNT tutorials, let's move on! If you didn't watch part number 1, you can watch it by the link below this video. Before you will expand such objects as this, I mean objects where you have such blending steps, you should click on Applied Effect, Preview, and select No Shading. Then simply click OK. Now Object, Expand Appearance. Also what you should know is before you will start to expand all objects, just save this illustration as illustration number 1, then continue with number 2, and as more you will change it, as more versions of document you should have. For example, when I finished to create this isometric house, I had 8 documents. When you have different versions, you can always return to some previous results or pick some needed parts from previous versions. Press A for direct selection tool, pick this part, I for eyedropper tool, and pick this color. Now pick this part and apply this color. Let's also expand this object. Applied Effect, No Shading, OK, Object, Expand Appearance. Pick this part and apply darker color. As we have blending steps here also, we should apply No Shading, Object, Expand Appearance, deselect this object, A for direct selection tool, and before we will apply colors to this object, let's select these parts and delete them. Now pick this point and simply move it like this. Pay attention that this line should be moved directly on needed axis, like so. Don't move it like this. In such cases you can also pick A for direct selection tool, select this part also, Shift plus M for shape builder tool, hold Alt, and delete unnecessary parts. But I think first method is much faster. Now simply move this object like this. It will be very easy to align these objects. Now drag guide and place this window like this. Let's apply colors here. Apply them according to reference. To expand such parts, you don't need to select No Shading, simply click on Object, Expand Appearance, then apply colors again. You might have different decisions, try different combinations. For example, I will change colors of these objects according to this one. Like so. With this object selected, Applied Effect, Preview, No Shading, OK, Object, Expand Appearance. Let's select these parts and pick this color. What you should know is that we will apply colors from White Shadow 1 to all these objects that are in shadow here, and White Shadow 2 will be applied to these 3 objects that are under the roof. Simply pick needed objects with Direct Selection tool and apply colors like this. In cases when you don't want to have the same colors for such objects, you can pick some middle color between these two. Just click here on Color, select HSB and play with this slider. Just a bit, to make similar results. When you picked colors for some objects like this, then you can simply adjust the same colors to all other objects on the same side. Let's move guide here. Notice how it snaps to this point. Also, if guides are not snapping or some objects are not snapping to each other, you should click on View and select Snap to Point. I also recommend you to have smart guides available. I will move this object just a bit and delete guide. Let's expand these objects. Now you can make them bigger. And if you want to change proportions here, it's better to double-click on this object. You won't pick any other objects in this scene. A for Direct Selection tool, pick needed points, and drag them. Then you can exit this mode by clicking on this arrow, or simply double-click somewhere on the workspace. I will move this object here, just to quickly apply needed colors. As these objects are inside and you want to add some depth here, let's pick this one first, color, HSB, drag this slider, and then drag slider for this color, like so. Let's add shadow here, A for direct selection tool, pick these two parts, Ctrl C, and press Ctrl Shift V. Why not Ctrl plus F? Because, let me show you this better. I will delete these two copied objects. I will open this group. If you will pick these two objects, press Ctrl C, Ctrl F, they will be copied inside of this group, and you don't want this in this case. You want them to be copied as separate objects. So let's press Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, Ctrl Shift V. And now you have them here. They are outside of group. Let's move them down. Properties, Pathfinder, Unite, Opacity, enter blending modes, and select Multiply. You can pick darker color. For such colors, it's better to use grayscale mode. Move it down like so. Then select this object, this one also, Shift plus M for Shape Builder, hold Alt, and delete unnecessary parts. Then just simply bring this layer down, and move it as you want. Properties, change opacity if you see that you need to. Alright, now select all these objects, press Ctrl G to group, let's move them here, A for direct selection tool, pick this point, and move it like so, just to match degree of this line. Let's double click on this object, pick these points, and don't move them like so, because this line will be changed, and we don't want this. This will be wrong degree. Move it like so, to keep degree of this line as precise as you can. And now move this line like this. Let's exit this isolation mode and place this object here. As you can see, this object is grouped, and what you should know about 3D, and this is very important, that after you will expand some objects, you should first of all select expanded 3D object, right-click on it, and ungroup. It will be still grouped. But before you pressed ungroup, let's press Ctrl plus Z. As you can see, before you pressed ungroup, you had group inside of group. And this is not too handy, you don't need this. So ungroup, and you simply have one group. Now let's double click on this group, pick these two parts, Properties, Unite. Let's exit this isolation mode. Now we need this shape to look like in reference. To do this, let's enter isolation mode again, A for direct selection tool, pick these points. I just simply want to change proportions here a bit, first of all. Let's do it like so. Then exit isolation mode, select this object, click here on Window, and pick Transparency. It might appear somewhere here. Just move it like this. Then click here, and you will have this panel. Right now we will apply opacity mask. With opacity mask you don't need to cut anything or fit anything. It's very easy to apply and to change. So just watch this. In this icon you can see selected object. And while we're in usual mode, we can see all these layers. Now let's apply mask. Click here on Make Mask, then click here on Clip, and after you will click on this icon, this will mean that you're in mask mode. All these layers will disappear. Let's click on it. Right now we're in mask mode. When you're in mask mode, you can't move or change anything. You're just working with mask of this layer. The main thing that you need to know about mask is that black color hides and white color reveals. And in mask there is no colors. There's only black color, white color, and all grades of gray. So let's just create rectangle. Right now it's hard to understand what is going on. It has some color, and for mask this color is gray. Let's click here on color, grayscale, and you can see that mask see this color as some kind of gray. Let's make it black. And you can see that you can hide any parts of these objects, like so. When you will return to usual mode, just click here on this icon. You will still have the same object, but with applied mask. You'll be able to move it, and mask still will be applied. We're in mask mode again. Let's delete this part. P for pen tool. We have black color. Let's just create shape like this. And let's return to usual mode. This is how you can quickly apply any shape to any objects. To be more precise, you can zoom in, select needed object, enter mask mode again, and simply play with this shape, like this. Let's return to usual mode, and we have this great result. Now it's time to add some gradients. Let's close transparency panel for now. A for direct selection tool, pick this part. To quickly find needed layer, click here on locate object. Here it is. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, gradient, linear gradient, G for gradient tool. Let's apply gradient like so for now. Properties, opacity, and let's change blending mode to multiply. And as you can see, we applied multiply, but nothing happened. That's because we didn't ungroup expanded 3D objects. As I already told you, right now we have group inside of group, and this might cause some errors like this. So let's right-click on this group, ungroup, and you can see that our blending mode is applied. A for direct selection tool, let's pick this gradient, properties. You can change opacity, and sometimes color burn works very well in similar cases. You should try this out also. I will use multiply, gradient. You can play with these sliders here. If you don't want this color to be too dark, double click on this slider and play with these colors. Zoom out to see what results do you have. I think I can have smoother transition here, and to make this transition smoother, I will double click on this marker and pick some gray color. Like this. Now it looks much better. A for direct selection tool, let's pick this part, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, I for eyedropper tool, click on this gradient, G for gradient tool, I will apply this direction here, play with sliders like so, let's make this transition smoother, properties, opacity, multiply. With the same method, you can choose this object, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, I for eyedropper tool, pick settings from needed gradient, opacity, multiply, G for gradient tool. Also don't forget about opacity, you can play with it also. Pick this gradient, G for gradient tool, gradient panel. Let's apply black color here, white color for this marker, and play with markers. Like so. If you're not happy with degree of this shadow, as you can see we have 123 degrees here, let's change it to 120, and this works for us very well. As we finished with these objects, let's continue. First of all, let's delete all these windows, and pick colors for this one. For now we won't duplicate it, because first of all we will work with these parts. Let's open Layers panel and make these layers invisible. We will leave only these layers because we need to make sure that when we will make these parts, in these moments everything will look correctly. So let's just select these objects and press Ctrl+2 to quickly lock them. Let's also select this object and lock it. First of all, let's delete this group Then ungroup these objects, delete all of them, select this base shape, object, expand appearance. And this is very important part. Please pay attention if you want to make everything correctly and if you want to make your artwork look professional. What you should know about 3D effect is that it adds some distortion. If you will drag guide like so, snap it to this side, as we're moving to top, you can see that this object is not following straight guide. This is not big deal, but if you don't know this, you won't ever make good results. Your lines would not match and you will have big problems. Right now we will align these lines, and that doesn't mean that you should always align all lines that you have created. Only some long parts and very important parts should be aligned. So don't worry about windows, for example, such parts, and even about these parts, because when you know about distortion, you can see it very well. If you will need to remove distortion from these objects, for example, we have it here also, as you can see. This is very easy to do. You will just pick needed points and align them. But you should not do this all the time. Later you will understand which object needs to be aligned and which you can leave as they are. So let's just continue. First of all, let's move guide here. Let's snap it to this corner. A for direct selection tool. Pick this point and simply move it to this guide. Not just like this, because you will change degree of this line. You should use smart guides. As I told you, you can find them here. Make sure that they're turned on. And when you see that this line becomes pink, that means that you're moving in needed axis. Align these points like so. Now you have straight line here. Let's snap this guide to this corner. We need to pick these 2 points, and you might think that you need to hide these layers that are on top, but everything is much easier and faster. Just double click on this object. You're in isolation mode, and even now you can't pick these points, because if you will pick A for direct selection tool, and if you will try to pick them, you will move all other objects. So in these cases, when you have objects around and you need to pick these points, click here on View, Outline, and now you can see only lines and points. You can't move any objects. You can move only lines and points. So let's zoom in to this point. I hold Alt and use Scroll to zoom in and to zoom out. A for direct selection tool, select these points and simply move them to this guide, like this. Now click on View, GPU Preview. When you will see that you need to match such lines, you can move this object even like this. Then pick it here, closer to corner. You should have Snap to Point active. Just pick it here. Move it like so. And it will snap to point of that object. Like this. I will show it once again. Just pick it somewhere here. And move to this point. You can see that it snaps. So this is very easy and fast to do. Let's move this guide here. Snap to this point. Double click on this object. A for direct selection tool, pick these points, and move them like so. I didn't care about degree of these lines, because they're hidden behind the roof. But if you need this degree to be correct, let's exit this isolation mode. Let's make guides layer visible from previous tutorial. Let's pick this guide, Ctrl C, make guides invisible, double click on needed object, Ctrl V, snap this guide to any point, to this point for example, and you can see that you simply need to pick these points and move them like so. Now everything is absolutely correct. You can delete this guide, make guides visible, pick this guide, Ctrl C, make guides layer invisible, double click on this object, Ctrl V, snap this guide to this point again, zoom in. I will add one more guide here, and move these points like so. Also, what you should know is that when you're zooming in too much, you're not able to pick these guides. You need to zoom out like so, and then you will be able to move them. A for direct selection tool. Now we are sure that all these sides are aligned. And if you think that it will take too much time, don't worry about that. As I told you, there is only a few objects in all isometric scenes that you will need to align. Sometimes you won't need to align anything. So just remember this tip, because in this case, this is very important. As we expanded and aligned these sides, let's apply correct colors. Now with this object selected, Object, Expand Appearance. Ungroup, we don't want to have group inside of group. Now we need to align this object. And as we have only one object, we will simply align only this one, and then simply duplicate it. All copies of this object will be absolutely correct. So you won't spend time to align all objects like this. You won't need to do the same thing over and over. Let's make guides visible. Let's snap this guide to this corner. Duplicate it. Like so. You can simply pick these points, these ones, properties, and select horizontal align right, for example. Just make sure that you're aligning not to artboard, but to selection. To align these points, we will enter Outline View, pick these ones also, horizontal align right, simply align everything. Here I will use horizontal align left. As we aligned this object, let's double-click somewhere to exit this mode. Make guides layer invisible. We are sure that this object is absolutely straight. Let's apply needed colors. Hold Alt. Duplicate it like so. I'm holding Alt plus Shift. I think it's too far. Let's try again. Ctrl plus D. And I see that I missed these parts. So Ctrl plus Z. I think distance between these elements is okay. And now I will move them like so. Let's pick them all. Ctrl plus G to group. Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Properties. Flip along horizontal axis. Move them like so. Zoom in. Snap these points. Now we need to fit these objects to this wall. Let's use Guide just to make sure that we will make everything correct. Layers, Guides. Let's snap this one to this corner. Then drag this guide here and snap to this corner. Double click on these objects. A for direct selection tool. Pick all these points. And simply move them like this. View, Outline. Make sure that everything's correct. Let's just move them all up, like so. Release them. Then start to move down. Hold Shift also to make sure that you're building straight line. And move them here. What can go wrong when you're doing this? When you're zooming in and you're manipulating these points, you must be sure that you didn't click anywhere and didn't deselect all other points. If you didn't click anywhere, selected points will be still active and you will make everything correct, just as I did. I remind you that to navigate here, you should use Hold it Alt and scroll to zoom in and to zoom out. View, GPU Preview. I will add one more guide here. Enter isolation mode, pick these points, and move them like so. Exit isolation mode, make guides layer invisible. Now we simply need to match points of these objects to points of these objects to make this house look 3D. To do this, just double click on these objects, and in this case it would be much faster to match them one by one. Just pick these points and snap them like so. As you can see, everything is absolutely correct and all lines are straight. So let's do the same for all other objects. As you can see, it's very easy. Just don't hesitate to zoom in and check if you did everything properly. Now let's bring these objects down. Select objects from this group with Direct Selection tool. We simply need to copy them from this group, delete them from this group, and paste them to this group and unite with these objects. Let's press Ctrl+C, delete, double-click on this group, and press Ctrl+Shift+V. I will apply this color just for you to see better. Now pick these objects, Properties, Pathfinder, Unite, and make the same with other objects. Now let's change color for these ones. You might be a little confused with all these manipulations, but now you can see why we did this. Just to make really correct shadows. Because if you would simply apply shadows to this wall by the line of this corner, this part would look flat, and everyone will see that something is wrong. And after we applied all these manipulations, we have correct lighting, because light falls from here, and it highlights all this part, and only after corner it becomes darker. So now let's apply darker color for these ones. Alright, and you can see that we already have realistic shadows. Now what we need to do is to pick base layer of this isometric house. I will click here on Locate Object to avoid any confusion. First of all, I will delete these guides, ungroup this object. We don't need this part, I will delete it. And let's ungroup this object again, because we need to pick this part now, pick these objects, and press Ctrl+G to group them, to have them as one group. Now the same with these ones. Ctrl+G to group. We're doing this to apply shadow correctly and professionally, because later shadow will be applied to all these objects. So first of all, let's apply base shadow for these objects. Let's select them. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, we just made copy of this group, and with this copy selected, Properties, Unite, Swatches, let's pick some dark color, Properties, Opacity, and change blending mode to Color Burn or to Multiply. Change opacity. You can adjust this shadow as you want, I will leave 25% here, and we will apply these complicated shadows just a little bit later. Let's make all these layers visible again. Also, let's unlock these ones. First of all, let's delete this part and make sure that this part placed correctly, because I see that this line is not straight. So let's select it, Properties, Extrude and Bevel, Preview, select Isometric Left again, and rotate it like so. Now this line looks much better. I think that happened because we changed proportions after we applied rotation in previous tutorial. So just don't forget to check if everything is correct before you will expand it. I will click OK, Object, Expand Appearance, Guides. Let's use guides here and see if we need to align something here. As you can see, this object looks absolutely straight. I will simply move it like so. Let's double click on this object, pick these points, and move them here like so. I would also move this guide right to this corner. Let's snap it to this point. Now let's double click on this object, pick all these points, and align them like so. To make sure that you place this object absolutely correct here, you can move it like so, pick as close to corner as it possible, and snap to this corner. After this, just move it up. Now what we want is to change this part, because it really doesn't look great. Guides. Let's move this guide somewhere here. A for direct selection tool, pick this point, and move it like so. Just make sure that this line is straight. Smart guides will help you. Now double click on this object to isolate it, and move these points just as we did. Zoom in to make sure that everything is straight, and don't worry about this part won't be visible. We can even delete this part. Now A for direct selection tool, pick this part, and pick this color. Then Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, flip along horizontal axis, start to move this object, hold Shift also, and let it snap to this point also. Like so. Guides. Let's snap guides like so. Double click on this object, pick these points, move them here. Now let's apply colors. P for pen tool, and let's just draw object like this. Now let's pick this color, for example. P for pen tool. Let's draw a rectangle here. All points will snap correctly, as you can see. And for this object, we need some middle color between these two. So let's pick it. Color, HSB, or grayscale in this case. And let's make it a little bit brighter, like so. Let's apply gradient here. A for direct selection tool, pick this object. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, I for eyedropper tool, pick this gradient. G for gradient tool, apply direction, gradient panel. If you can't pick right direction, choose 120 degrees in this case. Properties, opacity, multiply. If it not works, V for selection tool, deselect this object, select it again, right click, ungroup. A for direct selection tool, pick this gradient. We have 34% here. Let's apply the same here. Let's make this color darker here. Now to apply colors to door, let's make this layer invisible. Select it, Object, Expand Appearance, ungroup. To avoid group inside of group, let's pick colors according to reference. Let's pick this object, pick this color, grayscale, and let's pick some different color, something like this. As we already have this object here, let's delete this one. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+F, Properties, flip along horizontal axis. Let's move it like so. Let's pick these points. I will create guide. and place these points like so. I have a lot more stuff to show you, and as I already showed you how to align all objects using guides, I think you get this information well. If you will have some problems, just ask me in comments below this video and I will help you. Now I won't stop on any alignment of objects very precise. I will just create them and show you much more interesting stuff. Let's pick this color for now, P for pen tool, and create this shape. Now pick this color and create this shape. Let's apply following colors according to reference. Expand stairs. Let's unlock handrails. Let's pick this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, bring it here. Arrange, bring to front. Click here on Applied Effect, Preview, Front, and rotate it like this to 35 degrees. Then click OK. Change proportions. And let's leave it as it is for now. Now let's select them all. Object, Expand Appearance. And when you see some parts like this, just double click, pick all points, and move them up. So the same here, and for all cases like this. To make this part look correctly, you can pick A for Direct Selection tool, pick these points, and move them down, like this. You should also understand that if you have some little gaps, like this for example, you can simply pick A for Direct Selection tool, pick this point, and move it here, just to get rid of some gaps. That means that you don't need to always align everything, because if people will see this illustration in this size, they won't ever tell that you have some little distortion in these parts. Just hide gaps and some unpleasant moments, and align something only when you see that you really need to do this. Let's pick these points, move them like so. This part won't be visible, let's just simply delete it. To make this one look realistic, let's just pick this point, move it like so. Then you have gap here, you can simply try to remove it like this. I think that it looks really great. You don't need to align anything in this case. Move this part like so. Move this point here, and this point here. As you can see, I just removed some gaps. So with such complicated objects, you can do just the same as I showed you right now. Let's move these ones down also, and move stairs to the left, just a bit. Now we can change distance here. Let's just move them like so. No gaps here, and that's alright. So I quickly created these handrails without any precise alignment. You can do the same, because as you can see, everything looks just great. We took care about all main parts, and these little parts can be created without precise alignment. Now let's simply pick A for Direct Selection tool and apply colors. Let's apply these colors here. You should have the same color here and here, because it's the same corner. And let's make these colors a bit darker, like so. Now we need to put these windows and this door behind this multiply layer. And if you will simply pick them and move them like so, behind this multiply layer, you can see that there is obviously something wrong. To avoid this situation, there is very fast and easy way. All you need to do is to simply pick A for Direct Selection tool, pick this object, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, then hold Shift, select this multiply layer also, Shift plus M for Shape Builder, hold Alt, and delete all these unnecessary parts. As you can see, we have also unnecessary part here. Shift plus M, hold Alt, and delete it. Now you can even bring this multiply layer on top of these layers, like so. And to fix this moment, P for pen tool, let's add some points here, and simply move them like so. I've created points here also. Now everything looks ideally here. You might want to change opacity. And now let's make some interesting gradient here that will make this isometric house look much more realistic. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-F. We made copy of multiply layer, gradient, linear gradient. Let's change opacity to 100%. G for gradient tool. Drag it like so. First of all, drag this slider here. And I think we need to change direction. Now let's move these sliders like so. Hold Alt. Duplicate this slider here. Let's make it white. Double click on it. Pick white color. The same here. And now duplicate this dark marker. Duplicate white marker. And move it like so. We've created this interesting shadow just in few clicks. Now you can play with opacity. To make such complicated shadows as shadow from this roof, we need to create it here. Let's just simply press P for pen tool, swap fill and stroke, swatches, select stroke. Let's pick any dark color. You can pick this one, for example. Let's create shape like this. We're trying to repeat shape of this roof. Now duplicate this line somewhere here. A for direct selection tool. Make these lines longer. Select these two lines. Ctrl G to group. We're doing this just to isolate them. Double click on them. We don't want to be distracted with any other layers. A for direct selection tool. Let's pick this line. Properties. And change opacity to 0%. W for blend tool. Blend tool is over here. If you can't find this hidden line, just pick it with direct selection tool, then press W for blend tool, click on this line, and then on this line. Press enter, preview, specify distance, and I will enter all 5 points here. Your value can be different, even all 3 points. To make even softer transitions, click OK. Now let's exit isolation mode. Select this blend, opacity, and choose color burn. Now what we want is to create clipping mask and hide unneeded parts. Let's make this layer invisible. A for direct selection tool. Pick these parts. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-V. You can see all these copies here. Properties, pathfinder, unite. Make this layer visible. This copied layer should be on top of blend. Select them both. Right-click, make clipping mask. Now let's bring this layer down, like so, and you have this great shadow here. You can change it like this. Double-click on this clip group, double-click on this blend, pick this line, move it to any distance, and you see how this shadow changes. Sometimes you will need to double-click to isolate this blend a couple of times. Now let's double-click somewhere to exit this isolation mode. And also what you might want to do is to make the shadow lighter here and darker here. To do this, we will apply opacity mask to this blend. So let's isolate it again. Window, transparency, make mask, clip, enter mask mode. Now let's simply pick P for pen tool. Draw shape like this. I will swap fill and stroke, as we don't need to hide this part. I will pick some light gray color, like this. Let's exit mask mode. Exit isolation mode. Now let's create grass. Isometric top. Arrange, send to back, expand it, apply all colors, and let's create shadow here. P for pen tool. You can use guides. I will simply quickly show you how to create shadow here. Create such shape. Arrange, send to back, then bring it forward. Opacity, multiply, and change opacity to something like 40%. In conclusion, I would say that it is possible to create detailed isometric house fast. All you need is to learn and keep in mind tips from this tutorial, practice, create different houses, and soon you will realize that you are working very fast and professional. If you learned something new from this tutorial, drop a comment below, let me know if everything was clear enough for you and what you liked about this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial, support this channel by clicking on subscribe, and what's most important, by clicking on the bell icon to get notifications about newest tutorials from TNT. I would also appreciate if you will click thumbs up and will share this video. This was TNT Tutorials, see you in next videos!